this is your very first time of watching the show, we are a show that amplifies the voices of women who are contributing to national development. And today I am in purple. It's all about purple, you know. Starlife Insurance has brought us here, and they have got a lot to share with us. So if you're watching me from home, on your laptop, your phone, please get closer because there's something really important you need to hear about Starlife Insurance. And I want to say, after you've heard it, you need to subscribe because we're going to be giving the numbers out for you to subscribe right away. Okay, Kakra, I have noticed that there is a first when it comes to who you are in the insurance, industry. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, I actually don't like speaking about it, but for your show, I'll try and do my best.
Thank you.
The narrative is I'm the first female actuary in Ghana. So an actuary is essentially a professional who uses mathematics, statistics, and economics to try and ascertain or quantify risk to help you to prepare adequately as a human being. So that's essentially what we do in very highly simplified terms. I'm also the first, I guess, female CEO for Starlife as well. So that's the first that I usually attributed to my name.
That's fantastic. And we are happy to amplify that. So looking at another something to celebrate first, I talked about the fact that you were mentioned as Ghana's Club 100, one of the people who are within that ranking. And that's very important here in Ghana, if you get to find yourself within that list. And then we talk about the fact that you've been, a first and the first CEO. We're talking about the 17th anniversary of Starlife Insurance. What would you say Starlife has been able to achieve over, the past decade?
Oh, I think our record speaks for itself. We were one of the first insurance companies to split from the composite. I think in 2006, there was a law that stated that all composite insurance companies needed to split into general and life. So we were one of the first companies. We were actually the first that did so in 2005. That's October 2005, and that's why we're celebrating 17 years this anniversary month. We've achieved so much. We've become a household name more or less now, and we're looking to strengthen that so that we make sure that every single household has a Starlife product. We've come a long way in terms of digitization as well. I think when I started training in the insurance space, we used to calculate the insurance premiums using paper and pen. We've come a long way now. Everything is almost automated. So there are so many, things that we can boast of, awards and all that. I'm sure my brands team would share that with you.
Yeah, the awards.
But I think the fact that 17 years we're still here in Ghana, it's a lot to be proud of because we have a lot of indigenous companies, unfortunately, who haven't made it, especially with the new minimum capital requirements and now. So we're actually very proud of our achievements. We didn't need any external capital or anything like that. We've grown as a business organically, and that is where we are today. We started off maybe somewhere in the bottom, and now we're number 3 in terms of market share. So we're looking to oust a few of the number 1 and number 2 people. So we have big plans. We're looking forward to it. And we hope that a lot more people will join us.
Oh, definitely. They will after watching this. They will be joining. Yes, I said it. So please make me proud. Do join Starlife family. Okay, so talking about growth and how you've got into your 17th anniversary, let's take a look at your growing up as well as a child. What would you want to tell us?
Well, I grew up from I had a very, very strict upbringing and quite sheltered. My parents were very firm with us in terms of our faith, ensuring that we have our faith as one of the guiding principles, in living our lives. We were taught not to compare ourselves to others. We were taught to be humble. What else specifically would you like to know?
No, I'm very, very happy with the values you just shared because it tells the story of how far you've gotten to, as a first female actuary. Because if you didn't have your faith principles and humility, and not wanting to compare yourself with other people, definitely you'll not be where you are today. So we want to say a very big thank you to Mom and Dad.
Of course, big shout outs to them. We're a family of 5 children. I'm a twin, obviously Kakra. I've got 2 older brothers and then 2 sisters, my twin and then a younger one. We mostly played with each other and, our cousins and stuff like that. We weren't allowed sleepovers or any of those sort of childhood, pastimes that people enjoy. My mom wanted to ensure that we grew up in the Lord. So a lot of things that typically people would be allowed to do, we weren't necessarily allowed to do it. I always tell this story about my mom. I went to GIS. Of course, there's a lot of expats and people from diverse backgrounds. So she had to be extra hard on us to ensure that we were growing up in the Ghanaian way. It was very, very important for her. So I always remember whenever we used to have school parties, and at that time my dad was in the UK working, and she'll drop us right at the beginning of the party. So when the party was supposed to start at 7, we would be the only children there at 7 because she taught us that you cannot be late. If it says 7 o'clock, you must be there. So she'll drop us at 7. People would only start rocking up about 8:30. And by 9, she's finished her church program, Emeko. She's finished with women's ministry. She has her duku, her Emeko duku, her Emeko t-shirt, and her cloth. And she would pick us up. And there was this day where we decided we wanted to be a bit rebellious and stay a bit longer. So she asked us to meet her at 9 o'clock at the car park. And we weren't there. So this was my brother, the one right before us, and my twin sister and I. And 9, we knew it was 9. We were trying to chance it to see if this woman would allow us to have a bit of fun.
Okay.
By 9:15, we were literally on the dance floor in school. And then we hear, Kakra Duffour and sisters, your mother is at the car park waiting for you. And I think at that point, we realized that we cannot push her buttons, So that was also a very good lesson for us, that you stick to time. Whatever you've agreed with someone, you stay within those parameters. You don't try to chance it because you don't actually know what the other person's reaction would be. In our case, at that age, it was highly embarrassing for us. But sitting back now, I appreciate where she was coming from, because at a kid's party, after a certain time, you don't actually know what is happening. You may not want your kids to partake in that kind of activity. So it's very important that if this is how you want to raise your kids, there are certain decisions that you may make that are unpopular. But in the end, you know what you want, out of it. So it taught me some of these lessons. I always say my mom's been the one who really sort of gave us our grounding. I also remember things like when we first got a washing machine, we were so excited because we thought that was the end. This was lying in Saturday mornings. And she would say, no, this is to wash my husband's clothes. She would arrange the 3 pans. So who is washing first? So obviously the first washer, you're asleep, basically just, then there's a second washer, and then there's the third washer. So that's when she'll teach you how to do the blue. You pour a bit of the blue, you add water, and then, and then she would inspect. And there are so many times when she would put the things back into the first wash because it wasn't washed well. Again. Yeah. And it taught me that if you're going to do something, do it well.
Yeah.
Don't do it haphazardly. That's her favorite word. Or lackadaisically. Those are another of her favorite words. If you do it haphazardly, it's going to bite you in the end. So you might as well do it right from the start. And these are little things that, she taught us growing up. And they've stayed with me till now. And these are things that I would also, the values I have to pass on to my kids to ensure that they are, well-grounded human beings.
That's fantastic. I want to say a big thank you to Mom here, especially showing up in school with her duku and the cloth.
Oh yes, because she's like, we're like, Mommy, how could you come to our school looking like this? She's like, I'm your mother. You have to be proud of me. Whether I am dressed in tattered clothes, this is me. You cannot hide who we are. And that instilled some pride in us to be proud of who we are, regardless of how you feel like you look or seem to others. This is who you are. Be proud. And these are things that we picked up. So, I'm forever grateful to her. And but mind you, at that time, I didn't think
it was the best.
Not at all. Time. We would call my dad in the UK and say, your wife is abusing us. And she's like, no, she's teaching you to be a lady. She's teaching you the values that you need to grow up. So I completely appreciate that. And I'll forever be grateful.
Yeah, it all shows. So we'll go for a quick commercial break. When we return, I get to ask Kakra about how the structure here is. Want to know how many females we have when it comes to top level management. We will be right back. And you're welcome back to ETV Ghana's African Women's Voices show. Before I went on the break, we were talking about how Kakra grew up and the values that were instilled in her, especially by her mother. and that was quite interesting. I also mentioned to her that I was going to be asking her right after our break about how the structure appears here. A lot of times people say women supporting women, women empowering women. We get to see how it's playing out here in Starlife Insurance. So over to you, Kakra. Let us know what the structure is here. Are you really supporting women?
Definitely. I think women, by nature of who we are and how God has built us, we're masters of multitasking, and we're a bit more meticulous about how we do our work. So based on that and people's personalities, we're able to fit them into their best roles, not just because of women empowerment per se. In terms of my COO, for example, my Chief Operations Officer is a lady, Mrs. Bernice Queen. She's actually been with the organization since inception. She used to be with Star Assurance. That was the parent company at the time before, you know, it was split. And it speaks to the loyalty that women tend to bring to a team.
Yeah.
So Bernice has been, you know, with us. She's actually the one who trained me to start working. Wow. So Bernice has been with me since inception. My head of technical operations also is a lady, Keswa. Okay. And she oversees the underwriting, so the technical aspects of the business. And she oversees like all the products that are underwritten and all these things. Obviously, you have to be a highly technical person to do that. You need to be meticulous in assessing risk, etc. And you have to be able to, you know, determine whether this is even a good risk for the business to have. And this is held by a lady, Keswa. Of course, my brand and comms lady, Mercy. And then we also have my head of partnerships, Veronica. And I also have my HR, of course, Rosemary. She's the mother of us all. And that's majority, yeah, I think that's majority of our leadership team is actually women. Yes. Of course, within the organization as well, I would say that we have an even split across. So we actually have about 50-50 in terms of, or maybe slightly more women than men within the organization.
So how is it looking like in terms of your sales department?
Sales as well. Even I have a number of women branch managers. My Tema branch manager is a lady, Constance. Okay. And my Kumasi branch manager is also a lady. So I have them, you know, dotted around. So we're not limited in any field in terms of, okay, women are only in operations or back office, across the business.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, that was good to know. You mentioned about you know, products, and yes. I think I'd like to delve into that side. Do you have products that are actually family oriented or children? Because I mean, you know what the show is about. We like to nurture. Okay. So we want to know, do you have something like that?
We don't see ourselves selling products. We see ourselves giving out solutions to issues that we have from cradle to heaven, I like to put it. So we look at your circumstance and then we offer you solutions through the life insurance, you know, our product portfolio that we have. So we like to call it solutions. Like I mentioned, cradle. We have products for children. Okay. We want to ensure, one of the big focus for us is that children are our future. So we want to ensure that that future is not hindered in any way, shape or form. And that can only materialize if the parents are comfortable. Okay. So we have products that ensure that even if your parents, because of any unfortunate situation, are unable to provide for you, we have a child education plan that should step in immediately to give you the hope that you need in the form of proper education. So if your parents should pass away, unfortunately, or a critical illness should hit them such that they're not able to work as much as they should, it doesn't affect your future as a child. So we have that. Growing up as well, we have plans that can help you meet your savings goals. So you would like to save, you want to go on holiday, even if you want to pay your rent, whatever the case may be, we have products such as Wealth Master, such as Cash Builder Plus, which even can be used as a pension supplement, because Cash Builder allows you to make arbitrary payments. You don't have to make, if you have like a bulk amount that you've just received from some relative or whatever the case may be, you can actually put it into the product and you save it towards your pension to augment what you would have gotten under the tier 2, 3, or tier 1 situation. Okay. When you just get married, you know, now millennials are marrying younger and all that. Within your nuclear family, we have family protection to care for you, your spouse, and your children. We also have our home call, which in our context, it's actually a very important policy to have, but unfortunately, we're not able as a society to understand fully the benefits of it. And the reason I say this is we all have our parents. We all know that unfortunately they would transition at one point in time. How prepared are we? Even as we sit now with everything that's going on in the economy, if something should happen, are you able to just fork out bulk amount of money to take care of everything you need to have a befitting funeral for your parents? We don't think about these things, but these solutions are available to us. It's just a matter of us matching your needs to what our solutions offer. So the home call policy can take care of when your parents-in-law, any older person that you are responsible for in the moment, if they pass on, we're happy to support you in that moment. The time that you're already stressed and grieving, we step in to provide you with that, holding hand to take you through the process. We're even happy to give you any additional support that is required. So we do look at it, even when you go on pension, we have our annuity product. When you get your bulk money from either your pensions trustee or SNIT or whatever the case, we're happy to help you manage the money so that you don't squander it within the first year, because now due to medical advances and everything, people are living longer than they initially thought. So we help you, give you your steady income. So it becomes like a retirement sort of income for you when you're on pension. So you can go on holiday and know that every month I'm still getting this salary, even though you're on pension. So we have solutions across board. If you look at associations, we have a lot of people who are, they are part of their old school group, or they are part of some social association of some sort. We get into a situation where someone's parents pass, we all have to contribute to give to that person to support them as part of, their grieving process. We have a product called My Click. That takes away your burden of having to contribute or forking out 500 or whatever to support someone. If you have a My Click policy, anytime someone's parent dies, we step in and then we support the association. So we have all these products and we're happy to share. Just contact us and we'll give you what fits your situation. We do not believe in shoving products down people's throat. No, we have to see what you need and then we can offer you that solution.
That is relevance. The number is right now at the base of your screen. You need to give them a call. And I'm sure you're going to be convinced after what they're going to tell you over there. Because right now, I am looking at the association aspect of it, because it happens all the time. People keep contributing. At some point, people get tired. Okay,
Yes.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Yes.
But if we have a caring insurance brand that actually is going to help cushion us and take care of us when it comes to such situations, I think you should be giving them a call right now. Pick the number right now at the base of your screen. Now that we've gotten past
Maybe let me just to add, if you prefer a self-service kind of situation, we're happy to serve you. You don't need to talk to anybody. Just download My Star app and you can buy whatever individual products that you are interested in. So you don't actually even have to call. You can just download the app and then you can buy it there and then.
And
even
then better.
Exactly.
So download the
app.
The My Star app, to be able to get the access and the self-service.
Alternatively, you can do our USSD, which is star 7373, very easy to remember, hash. And then you can buy any product that you're interested in.
That's amazing. You know what? Living the star life is absolutely comfortable.
Very soft life. We like soft life.
It's a very soft life. And I kind of like something like this. And I want to believe that as you're watching me too, you want to have that soft life. And Star Life is offering you that kind of soft life. Now, let's look at insurance literacy.
Yeah.
With all what you said, I'm sure there's a lot of education going on in the system, but somehow there's this feeling that it's not really penetrated. What would you say is contributing to this?
It is true. I think sometimes professionals tend to use big words that don't necessarily resonate with the everyday person. And that is some of the disadvantages that our industry, are facing. Breaking down the insurance concept such that you understand and you can relate with it on a day-to-day basis. If you talk about, for example, building generational wealth, everyone's interested in that now. But you can actually use insurance as a key financial tool to do that. It's a matter of passing on wealth from myself to my children. How do I do that? It's not about leaving property or whatever the case may be for them. I can actually leave them generational wealth with a policy. However, if someone comes to you and they're asking about that, and you are talking about your premium and sum assured, and then there are some indemnity clauses here and some exclusions here, and it puts people off. So to a large extent, we haven't been able to communicate to the needs of people, and that's why we haven't been able to increase the penetration. Apart from that, if you look at our counterparts in Nigeria, South Africa, and other African countries who have slightly higher penetration rates than us, Kenya and the likes, between their governments and their regulator, they've been able to put some compulsory life insurance in there. So if you look at Ghana, we have some compulsory insurances, but it's not life, it's motor. You know, it's fire, it's marine, and all these. But at the end of the day, what is more important? Is it your life or your asset? It's your life. So I think as an industry, we all have to do more. We try to do the education, we try to break it down, but it has to be consistent across board because it's a lot. How do you move from, if you are socio-cultural context of funeral, everybody must contribute. And people make gains from that as well anyway, to, okay, now let the insurance company take care of it for you. People are used to this over years. This is how we've done it. So that change is also difficult for people to accept because this is how we've always done it. But change is inevitable. So as a people, we also have to embrace change and embrace some of these things, but we have to communicate the value for people to appreciate it, and that's where the change then starts. So I think breaking down some of our policies, breaking down our terminologies for everyone to understand the benefit of insurance would go a long way to support our industry a lot more and to increase the penetration ultimately. So I think we all have to come together as stakeholders, and that is why part of why I'm doing this on this platform, to give people the opportunity to know that insurance it's not that big a deal. It's something we all need, especially in these times, as a key financial tool to support us. If you don't have it now, it gets expensive as you grow older. So the younger you are, the better it is for you to actually get it because you get it for cheaper. So it's some of us having to do some of these things to try and break it down so that it doesn't seem like such a huge cloud of uncertainty or whatever around it. Apart from that as well, I think there's a lot of mistrust for insurance companies. And these are legacy issues, past things where lots of things were shrouded in secrecy. They don't explain the details of the policy. Now, we have to make everything as plain and simple as possible, and the regulator also supports that. So I think gradually it's changing. We just have to speed it up a bit more. But so that's the challenge with insurance from my perspective.
All right, well shared. So as we celebrate the 17th anniversary of Starlife Insurance, we'd like to take a look at what kind of challenges you have faced over time.
As a business. Okay, I mean, 17 years, of course, is a long time. Different phases of the business. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm the 4th CEO. Okay. So of course, every CEO has a different vision, and any CEO that leaves, there is a bit of a gap, there is a bit of uncertainty that usually is surrounding it. So Starlife has had to go through that, but that is like any other business. Digitization has become a big thing now, changing people's way of doing things and their mindset to embrace new and more efficient ways of doing things. These are all challenges that most businesses also face. I wouldn't say there's been anything peculiar, but we believe in, if there's a challenge, we see how best to move on. We don't really dwell on challenges that we've had. We just look at the best way to just surmount it and then excel. So that's been our philosophy. And we're very guided by our core values, and we apply that in every situation that we face. Our core values, passion for excellence. Regardless of the challenge, the passion for excellence must overcome the challenge. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
We deal with empathy in everything that we do. We feel and know that we are the pace setters, so leadership is a big thing for us in the industry. So all these challenges that come and go, we are guided by our core values to ensure that we surmount them to excel.
Great. We'll go for another quick commercial break. When we return, we get to see what Starlife Insurance's take is on corporate social responsibility. Here in Ghana and across Africa, we appreciate brands that always care and do stuff for us. We get to see what it is when it comes to Starlife Insurance. Do not go away. You're welcome back to ETV Ghana's African Women's Voices show. Before we went on the break, I said we're going to talk about CSR and how Starlife Insurance is taking it. We all like good things, and we want to see brands that are caring for the society and the people that have always been their customers. So over to you, Kakra. Let us know what it is you've been doing in the area of corporate social
So I think
responsibility.
our philosophy with the corporate social responsibility, we haven't been very loud about it. I guess we're following the biblical principle that when your left is given, your right shouldn't see,
it.
you know, something like that. So we don't typically publicize our CSR very much, but we have done a lot in the area of, let's say, community and children. That's where we've mainly focused on in the past. Of course, our direction would change, you know, moving forward, given we look at where it's most needed. So in the past, we focused on setting up boreholes within communities that do not have water. We engage in some of these teachers within the communities, etc. And you know, it's quite disheartening sometimes that they do not have clean drinking water. So I personally actually opened up the one in, I think it was Olga Secondary School. It was a school that we set it up, and you know, other areas within the north. So we've done about 5 or 6 of them. More recently, we've been looking at children. Of course, like I mentioned, we do strongly believe that they are the future, and we have to support them.
That was the word you used.
The cradle, exactly. We've supported Blooming Minds, you know, with their spelling bee. We've also greatly supported special needs situations, so children with autism. And we realize that people treat them differently because they don't understand what the children are going through and the kind of support that they need. So we've supported the autism, you know, children with autism. We've also recently done the Down Syndrome Foundation. All these are special needs that we don't throw enough light on, you know, within our communities, and we need to support them to allow them to have the kind of, you know, childhood that they should have. Just because they are disadvantaged in one area, it shouldn't mean that it should be, you know, for the rest of their lives. So we look at ways to support them. There's also African Supplies. They have equipment that supports critically ill premature children. So we've supported them as well. So that's the area that we've been looking at mostly, you know.
That's fantastic. But looking at your 17th anniversary, is there something staff is looking at doing in the area of CSR?
Yes, we're actually, yesterday, we went to the orphanage to support, you know, the children there, which is in line with what I mentioned about the children. So we did this donation, food stuff, clothes and all that. And this is something we regularly do. We actually do like a December drive as well, where we allow staff or ask staff to bring anything that they don't need so that we can share with those in need. The only years we haven't done is the last 2 because of COVID. We're also mindful of, you know, spreading and all that. So we didn't do it the last 2 years, but this is something that we typically do every year and to support those who do not have as much as we do.
That's fantastic. Now let's take a look at your leadership style. How would you define it?
I'm definitely not the typical CEO. I don't like being called madam or any of those. I don't like being called CEO. So I constantly have to tell people, just call me Kakra, because maybe I'm getting a big post tomorrow. I might be executive vice chairman and you're limiting my destiny by calling me CEO. I'm laid back, and I try to be laid, but I want people to feel comfortable. I don't think I have a particular style. Situations determine how I would lead. I remember reading when I first became CEO, this book about wartime CEO and peacetime CEO. And that really taught me about being more of a situational leader, because in certain circumstances, you have to be tough. You may not make the most popular decision, but you have to look at what is in the best interest of the stakeholders. And it's not always popular, but you have to make that decision. And in certain areas too, or depending on the situations, you just have to let it go and let things ride out. So I'm a very situational person, but I try to make people feel as comfortable as possible. I also believe in sort of a bottom-up approach. I don't believe in a top-down approach all the time. In terms of even strategy development, for example, people are working within certain operational areas. They have a bigger and better view and full understanding. So if you sit at the top thinking you know everything that they're doing and you make certain decisions without their input, you could be making a huge mistake. So a lot of it is very situational. I prefer to be on a first name basis. I obviously operate an open door policy, but you also have to be respectful of my time, because I have to schedule. I'm a very structured person, so I like to schedule things, but I also try to make a bit of room for people who are more unstructured so that they can interact with me. What else? Yeah, I think it would be a better question to ask other people who deal with me.
All right, we definitely will be doing that. And I know that we're going to be getting almost the same thing you say, so that's all right. So, looking
Oh
at
yes, and
your
I say it as it is.
as it is,
Fortunately, sometimes some Ghanaians don't like that, and they may see it as being too forward. But I like
or the
to
word too known.
too known. I like to present things as it is. I don't always sugarcoat things because I feel like within certain situations, call it as it is and then you can deal with it. But if you try to sugarcoat it, you may be solving the wrong problem. So, yeah.
I think that's quite good because it's good to say it as it is. That's what we need right now in Africa and across the world. So let's take a look at what you've been able to achieve as, okay, I don't want to use the word CEO. What have you been able to achieve, Kakra?
This is always a difficult question for me, and I was actually discussing with my PA earlier. I never sit back and look at what I've achieved because I always feel like there's so much more I should be doing.
Okay.
In terms of specifically with Starlife, when I became CEO, I wanted us to move ICT from a support function into something that is an innovation enabler. And I'm proud to say that I've achieved that somewhat, but I'm not entirely where I would like to be. But we have definitely come quite a long way. And like I mentioned, our app and all these things. So I want more. So I don't know if I've achieved all that I would like to achieve. I have high standards and expectations for myself. I know in terms of culture, I believe we have a much better culture now. We have more of an openness. People are able to discuss how they feel. There's no fear or anything like that, because usually in typical sort of environments, they're like, oh, I haven't even ever seen the CEO before. We don't have that here. We are very, very open. And I like that. And it's a big achievement for me because I never want to be in a situation where people are uncomfortable to share how they feel, or uncomfortable in my presence, or uncomfortable in my leadership team's presence. And having that confidence in us is very important to me. It's one of the biggest achievements that I would say. In terms of the business growth, of course, we've grown considerably. So that I cannot even attribute to me myself as an achievement because it's a team, a team effort. So yeah.
Great. All right, so let's take a look at some of the misconceptions around insurance and what you would like to say, like to correct it, because already people have their, okay, insurance means you're about to die, or insurance means something really negative. Could you take us through some of them and how you want to correct them?
I think some of the misconceptions is that insurance companies cannot be trusted. If you look at our claims, this obviously dispels this misconception. Insurance is only for death. Not at all. Instead of looking at it for death, insurance is for generating generational wealth.
Okay.
Insurance is for keeping you comfortable. So in terms of misconceptions, it's not just about death, it's about savings. It's about keeping money aside for a rainy day. It's about when you're not there, your family is fully catered for. So those are kind of the misconceptions I can clear up somewhat. Yeah.
Great. And it's about association as well. Remember what she said earlier when we started. They can question your association. Those of you who keep thinking about how to do those contributions, they also are going to take care of you on that side. Okay. So now let's come back to what we say you would want to give as an advice to women who are looking forward to coming to sit at the top level management. Sometimes we feel like, okay, it's too far away. We can't do this. There's so many people pushing us back. They don't believe us. They think we're so emotional. We are all over the place and all of that. What would you want to say to that woman who is watching right now, who wants to get to the level that she dreams about?
I think first of all, you have to believe in yourself, because no one else is going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. And I think as women, sometimes some of the barriers are in our heads. It's not so much a reality. A lot of times, especially in Ghana, people talk about, oh, women are slightly disadvantaged. If I look at Starlife, there's no woman who is paid less than a man on the same grade. So some of these things are in our heads, but when it comes to on the ground, it's not happening. So you have to create your own reality as well. Unfortunately or fortunately, because of our socio-cultural context as well, women are expected to do certain things. You still have to take care of the home.
True.
Learn to ask for help when you need it, because you cannot do everything. You need to have a big enough support system, especially if you want to rise in the corporate world. So you need to make sure that certain things at home do not lack just because you are the forefront within an organization. We have to be determined. The reality is we probably have to work extra hard than our male counterparts because our responsibilities are slightly different. We are in an environment where now both men and women are working. Mm-hmm. There's double income household, but then when you're done with work, you're supposed to go and cook. So we do have to work extra hard. There are times when you have to work later.
True.
Than is expected. Do you have a supportive enough partner? And these are things you have to think about before you actually say that I'm gunning for this position. If you know you don't have a supportive partner, don't gun for a position that would put you in a worse off situation, and then you are not pulling your best. Then the narrative of, oh, because we gave this woman a chance, you have to prepare. It's all about preparation. We have to do extra preparation, unfortunately more than our male counterparts. But when you have all those ducks in a row, it makes it a lot more easier to succeed, as a female. Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say is your outlook for the Ghanaian life insurance industry? What would you say?
Oh, there's definitely a lot of opportunity. Like I mentioned, our penetration is very low. It's just at 1%. So obviously there's a lot more room for improvement. We have to get down to the basics. Okay. We have to simplify our terminology. We have to allow people to tell us what they need and give them solutions as opposed to throwing products, to them. And that's the only way we can actually grow as an industry. So we have a lot of potential. We just have to come together and agree on what would make us, grow our industry. And that's probably where we've had a bit of a challenge. So in terms of outlook, we're looking forward to fantastic things. Now, we all know what's happening within our economy and all that. This is actually the time to buy life insurance. This is the time you can hedge your bets. This is the time you can hedge your risks. This is the time if something happens to your mom, your dad, your in-law, this is the time you're going to be squeezed, for money. So this is the time you need to be paying those small premiums so that at the time when you need the financial support, we will be there. So I think in as much as the economy is going through quite a bit, our exchange rates and all that, this is the time to actually buy life insurance because this is when you need it the most. And I think this is also going to be a huge boost for our industry once we're able to communicate it for every single Ghanaian to understand the benefit of it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Remember when we were having the conversation, Kakra mentioned that she doesn't really like to talk about her achievements because she wants more.
Yeah.
However, I thought it would be good to see some of the awards that she has won, especially when it's talking about her being a female. And this one really speaks to me. I like it. When she was the first actuary, recipient for being the first female. I think we mentioned it earlier, and there's something to show for it. Okay, so I know you don't like this, you're going to have to do it. Did you see the eye she was giving to me? Like, oh, Eunice, please, don't talk too much about these things. Well, yes, we have to talk about it. So what is the story behind this particular one?
Okay, so the story behind this, and maybe why I picked it, this is Access Bank's award from the W Initiative, their women's only initiative that they run. And on this particular day, when I received the award, I started off very early at work. I think I had to start at 7.
Okay.
And regardless of my schedule, I always try to be at home in time to tuck the children in. Their bedtime is 7:30, so I always try to tuck them in. And unfortunately, of course, because of this, on this day, I could not do that. And I remember sitting at the award ceremony, and my daughter would call 3 times, my son would call, and they would video call. They video call. So, and I'm trying to explain, I'm sorry, I can't come. They were so upset. Luckily, their dad had spoken to them that I had to go for work. So in the morning, I went to wake them up with the award. And I was like, look, this is what mommy was doing. So I went and I was like, mommy got an award. And then I was forgiven for missing bedtime.
Nice.
And yes, so, and they were so proud of me, and it was also a teaching moment that I had with them. And I said to them, sometimes you have to sacrifice the things that you would prefer to do just to be successful.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult lesson. Children want their mom
All the time.
but at least they appreciate, where I was coming from, and the fact that they were so proud of me, because I don't talk to them much about my work. They just know I'm mommy.
Oh,
Yes,
that's a
they
good
they've
one.
they figured out though. Like they've been here. I've had to bring them to work a few times, so they figured out that mommy's the boss, but they don't really fully understand just that I'm not available sometimes. So this makes me so proud that they were so proud of me, and it changed their mindset. And I needed that change because the mommy guilt is real.
It is real.
It is real.
So with this one, the one with the head.
Yes.
Where's that one from?
So this is in recognition of my contribution to STEM activities for ladies. So I typically do a bit of mentoring for ladies in STEM, so girls in science and maths and stuff like that. So this was in recognition of that by the RAD Institute. Yeah. So
That's
this is
beautiful.
also something that means a lot to me, and it's also my favorite color. So
Is in your favorite color, purple. Nice. So
Yeah.
we'll not be able to go through all of them, but this
Yeah.
one, the Ghana
of course,
Club
our
100,
Ghana
listen.
Club 100. Of course, it's a prestigious club to be a part of.
Yeah.
And Starlife is very humbled and privileged to be, number 47. There are a lot of our, companies within our industry that didn't actually make it. So we don't take this for granted whatsoever at all. We're very, very privileged and very humbled to have received this just this past weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. So I'd like to, journey through
Sure.
the office and get to see maybe a few of the females who are,
Sure.
at top level.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
let's
go around.
Kakra, I want to wish Starlife Insurance happy 17th anniversary.
Thank you so
It's
much.
been wonderful having this conversation with you.
Thank you so
And you see
much.
how we're twinning, wearing the purple.
I'm so grateful you wore purple.
Could we tell our people actually why purple is in the color for
I mean,
Starlife?
Purple signifies royalty. Purple signifies wealth. And purple is pretty. So
It is pretty. It looks good on everyone. I
Yeah.
also like your touch of pink. This is Breast Cancer Awareness
Yes.
Month, and you've actually
Yes.
lived it up.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I look forward to the next meeting.
Ah!
All right. So everyone, we draw the curtain on today's African Women's Voices show. Look forward to the next interesting lineup that we have for you. But before I take my leave, I'd like to say a very big thank you to the sponsors of this show, and they include Afariwa Styles. Afariwa always ensures that I look good and beautiful for you. Awo's hair for my hair, Leek tomato mix, Ghana's #1 tomato mix, and also Chana Shito. When it comes to pepper sauces here in Ghana, whoopsie, they are the best. So until we meet you again, do enjoy the rest of our interesting lineup for you. Bye-bye.